At 8:12 on a Tuesday morning, a congratulations text called my daughter-in-law the author of a sentence I had written beside my husband's empty hospital bed. I had never entered the River County Family Voices Prize. So before I called my son, I opened the blue notebook beside my coffee and found the sentence in my own handwriting. Then I called the number beneath the message. "River County Literacy," a woman said. "This is Leah." I told her my name was Mara Bell. I told her the quoted line belonged to an essay I had not submitted. Then I asked her to pause the acceptance until we understood how Paige Bell's name had gotten onto my pages. Leah did not accuse me of being confused. She asked me to wait while she opened the entry. When she came back, her voice had changed. Mrs. Bell, the entrant, certified that she was the sole author. "The prize has been announced to the finalists, but nothing has been paid. May I email you the certification?" That was the first thing I learned. The $7,500 was still only a promise. The second thing was worse. On the nonprofit's page, Paige sat in front of a white wall and answered 3 questions about the essay she supposedly wrote. When the interviewer asked why the hospital towels were yellow, Paige looked past the camera and said, "I think yellow felt hopeful." The towels had not been hopeful. They were yellow because the laundry service had sent the wrong shipment on the worst morning of my life. Paige did not know that. But did she know the words were mine? Leah's email arrived while I was watching the clip again. Attached was a page with Paige's typed name beneath a box that said the submitted work was original and solely written by the named entrant. The file itself was called Empt Final. I knew that name. 3 weeks earlier, I had emailed a file called Empt. The subject line was, "Page numbers only." For 32 years I cleaned hotel rooms. I could tell whether someone had slept in a bed by the pull of one corner. I knew the difference between a towel dropped after a shower and one used to wipe coffee from a desk. My work depended on noticing what other people left behind without inventing a story that was not there. After my husband Daniel died, noticing became harder. Every room in our duplex seemed to contain an absence I could not clean. His reading glasses stayed on the end table for 4 months because moving them felt like admitting he would not need them. I retired the following spring and spent too many mornings arranging things that were already straight. My sister Celia found an adult writing class at the community college and signed my name on an interest card. I almost threw it away. Evan said it might be a nice hobby, the way people say puzzles are a nice hobby when they mean they hope you will stop sounding lonely. But I went. The first assignment was to describe a room after someone had left it. My first version was 6 careful sentences. It sounded like a report for a hotel supervisor. Bed removed, personal effects collected, room vacant. Our teacher read it and asked where I was standing. I had not put myself anywhere. That embarrassed me. For most of my life, being good at something meant leaving no sign that I had done it. A guest opened a hotel room door and saw order, not the woman who made it. At home, groceries appeared in the right cabinets and birthday cards reached distant cousins because our family was simply organized. Writing asked for the opposite kind of care. A sentence said, "I stood here. I saw this." This is the order in which it mattered to me. Our teacher asked us to describe a room after someone had left it. I wrote about Daniel's hospital room after the orderly rolled his bed away. I wrote about the yellow towels stacked beneath the sink, the paper cup with his last 2 ice chips melted at the bottom, and the square of clean sunlight on the floor where the bed had been. I put myself beside the sink with my coat over one arm because I had been too warm to wear it and too stunned to set it down. I put in the squeak of the orderly's left shoe. I admitted that after Daniel's bed left, I wiped the ring of water beneath his cup with a paper towel. No one had asked me to clean. My hands simply knew what to do when the rest of me did not. June Park, A woman in my class who had spent 40 years doing payroll asked why the towels were yellow. That question made me rewrite 3 pages. It made me understand that the color mattered, because it was ordinary and wrong, and because grief notices insultingly small things. I wrote the final draft in my blue notebook, then typed it on a second-hand laptop. Page numbers defeated me. They started on page 2, vanished on page 4, and appeared sideways once for reasons I still do not understand. Evan had come by for coffee. He fixed reports for work and made clean slides for Page's online business. I asked if he could make the numbers behave. "Send it over," he said. "Page numbers only." He smiled. "I heard you, Mom." At my spare room desk, I found the email. The attachment was there. So was my plain sentence. "Please don't change the words. I am not ready to share this outside class." I read it twice, because blame is a restless thing. It looks for the nearest chair, and I was sitting there. I had sent him the file. I had let him see something private. For several minutes, that felt like evidence against me. Then I read what I had actually written. Sending a person a page to number is not giving him your name to erase. I called Evan. He answered from his car. I could hear the turn signal. "Before you get upset," he said, "let me explain what this could do for Paige." Not what happened. What it could do. "Did you submit my essay?" "I submitted a polished version of a family story." "Whose name did you put on it?" He let the turn signal click 4 times. "Paige has the platform, Mom. The judges look at whether someone can carry the message forward. You wrote down things all of us lived through. You were not in that hospital room. Dad was my father." He was. "Did you tell Paige where the pages came from?" "I told her you had a family story that could help her." "Did you show her my email?" "I am trying to keep her business alive." The answer was no. Paige had built a small online business around home organization after leaving a department store job. For a while, people paid her to make schedules and closet plans. Then, 2 large clients stopped paying, and her audience grew faster than her income. Evan had mentioned debt, though never a number. I knew they were frightened. Fear can explain why a person reaches for the wrong door. It does not turn the room behind it into his. I told Evan to tell Paige the truth before dinner. "Let's not make this bigger than it is," he said. "You put her name on it. You made it this size." He came to my house at 6, carrying a slim black folder. He had always liked folders. As a boy, he put school papers in color-coded sleeves while leaving socks under every chair. As an adult, he believed a neat presentation proved a problem could be managed. He spread printed pages across my kitchen table. Paige owed money on a business credit card. 2 clients had canceled. A marketing consultant had told her that a personal story could make people trust her again. The prize included a public reading and promotion from the nonprofit. "This could restart everything," he said. One honest piece about loss and making a home afterward. He showed me a forecast Page's consultant had made. A finalist badge might bring newsletter subscriptions. The public reading might lead to clients. Each arrow ended in a larger number. "You think the award is $7,500, he said. "It isn't. It's credibility." "Whose?" "Paige's business needs a human story. Then Paige should write one. She freezes when it gets personal." "So you gave her my personal life." He gathered the pages into a straight stack, then spread them out again. "You have a pension," he said. "Your house is nearly paid off. You don't understand what one bad quarter feels like when everyone can see you slipping." He was right that I did not understand her business. He did not understand what it cost me to write that hospital room. Neither ignorance created permission. Honest for whom? The experience belongs to the family. The experience of losing him does. Those sentences do not. He leaned back. His face had Daniel's tiredness around the eyes, which made it harder to stay angry cleanly. "You weren't going to publish it," he said. "I was not ready." "Exactly." It was sitting in a file. I looked at the pages he had printed. In his world, unused things had no owner. My extra key was available when he needed the garage. My Sunday afternoon was available when Paige needed help packing orders. My memories were available when their business needed a voice. The habit had begun with smaller things. When Evan was 26, he volunteered my dining room for Paige's bridal shower because it had better light. When he was 30, he gave Celia my old sewing machine and told me I had not used it in years. Both times, he arranged everything before asking. Both times, he kissed my cheek and called me generous after I gave in. Daniel used to catch those moments. Once, when Evan announced that I would cook for a neighborhood fundraiser, Daniel told him, "Ask your mother before you build a plan around her." I cooked anyway because it was easier than watching Evan cancel. Later, Daniel asked why I was angry with him when Evan had made the promise. "Because you noticed and still ate the chili," I said. Daniel apologized. Evan thanked me. Those were not the same response, though. I often treated them as equal because dinner was over. I had helped teach him that. After Daniel died, I let Evan answer too often. At restaurants, he told the server what I would have. At a doctor's office, he explained my sleeping before I had opened my mouth. I mistook his speed for care because grief had made every ordinary decision feel heavy. "Tell Paige," I said. "I will. But don't contact the contest again until we can work out what is fair." I already contacted them. His palm flattened on the folder. "You put a hold on it?" "I asked them not to accept something until they know who wrote it." For the first time that evening, he looked less persuasive than scared. My phone lit on the counter. It was Paige. "Did you give him that story?" The next afternoon, she came alone. She sat on my front step instead of asking to come inside. Her hair was twisted up with a pencil. I had seen her use that same pencil in videos about making a workspace feel personal. "Evan said it was a family essay," she began. "He said you wrote it?" "He said you gave him memories, and he shaped them for me." I waited. "I changed the title," she said. "And 2 transitions. The part about folding Daniel's shirt, I changed had needed to. Did the rest sound like you?" She rubbed her thumbnail along a crack in the step. "No." "Did you ask why?" "Not enough." That answer mattered. She had not opened my email or copied my file. She had also accepted praise for a voice she knew she had not found. "Did I give him permission?" she asked. "No." "Can you show me?" "I can send the original email and draft once. Then what you do with them is your choice." She looked up. "Do you want me to accuse my husband in front of those people?" "I want your name off words you did not write. How you say that is yours. If I take my name off, will they give the prize to you?" "I don't know," I said. "But I am the only one that knows." "I won't ask." Paige stayed on the step. "People commented on the announcement," she said. "They said it was the first honest thing I had ever posted." "What did you say?" "Thank you." "Did you believe you were thanking them for your work?" I tried to believe Evan had changed it enough. "Before or after they praised it?" She flinched. I did not enjoy that. I asked because sequence mattered. "After," she said. Evan had opened the door. Paige had walked through because the room was warm and people liked her there. She had not known who built it at first, but she had known she had not. "I am not telling you what your marriage requires," I said. "I am telling you what my name requires." She stood and brushed grit from her trousers. "Send it," she said. "I will send it before the meeting, when we all know what the sponsor is asking." The following morning, Evan called while I was sitting in the bank parking lot. He had calculated a solution. If the prize comes through, we'll give you 2,500, he said. That's more than most local writers ever get. You are offering me part of money nobody has. It recognizes your contribution. Contribution to my own essay? He exhaled hard. Mom, if you force a correction, Paige gets humiliated, the business gets nothing, and you still have the same pages in your drawer. Who does that help? His question found the tender place. I did not want Paige humiliated. I did not want my son afraid of bills. I had spent most of my life solving the smaller problem, so everyone could get through dinner. For 1 minute, I imagined taking the money. They would keep the public story. I would keep the private knowledge. We could call it family compromise and never speak of it clearly again. Then Evan said, "We can say we developed it together." That was another sentence he wanted me to live inside. "No," I said. "Tell Leah I asked for a private meeting. No public accusation. No social posts. Just the people involved." He went silent. "You would cost us $7,500 over a byline? You do not have $7,500. And you did not borrow my name. You removed it." I called Leah from the same parking space. She scheduled the meeting for Friday at 4. She asked what correction I wanted. I opened my mouth and discovered I had too many answers. I wanted Evan to understand. I wanted Paige to apologize. I wanted the judges to know the work was good before they knew it was mine. I wanted Daniel alive so none of us could use his death this way. Leah waited. "I need a day," I said. That evening was writing class. I almost stayed home. The essay felt contaminated, as if every good sentence now came with Evan's fingerprints on it. June noticed I had no pages. During break, I told her the plainest version. My son had submitted my essay under someone else's name. The sponsor had paused the award. There would be a meeting. June did not say I should sue him or expose him. She asked, "What do you want to be true when you leave the room?" "That I wrote it." "Then say that." Our teacher invited me to read if I wanted. My hands shook against the notebook, but I read the opening. I read the yellow towels and the melted ice. Nobody applauded when I finished. That was one reason I trusted the class. They let the silence belong to the work. Our teacher asked what changed between the first and last draft. I told them about taking myself out of the first version. "Why?" Russell asked. "I thought the room would sound more important without me." "Did it?" "It sounded cleaner." June looked over her glasses. Clean is not always honest. I had cleaned thousands of rooms until no trace of the previous guest remained. Writing asked me to leave the right trace and accept that someone would know I had been there. A man named Russell said, "I remember when the towels were white in your first draft." June nodded. "And I remember asking why yellow mattered." There were people who had watched the sentences become themselves. I could have asked them to come Friday. I did not. I did not want a parade of witnesses. I wanted one accurate correction. I wrote it on the board after class. Paige Bell did not write this essay, and I did not authorize its submission. Then I added a second line for myself. I am not asking for the prize. Until that moment, I had thought refusing the prize would make me look weak. Instead, it separated two questions Evan had tied together. Who wrote the essay? And who should receive this particular award? The answer to the first was me. The answer to the second could be nobody. The night before the meeting, I sent Paige my original email and draft. I did not add an argument. I did not highlight the line about page numbers. She could read. Evan called 6 minutes later. "Why did you send that to her?" "She asked to see it." "You're turning my wife against me. The file does not ask her to choose a husband." "You know what I mean." "Yes," I said. "I do." Leah called next. She explained the meeting in 2 minutes. The entry could be reinstated or voided under the authorship rule. It could not be transferred to me because I had not entered. No payment had been issued. That was all I needed. No law lecture. No hidden clause. Just the box someone had checked. At 10:43 that night, Paige sent one message. I read the first page. Friday afternoon, River County literacy smelled like copier paper and cinnamon tea. The conference room held 5 chairs. Leah sat beside the program director, Samuel Reed. Paige sat across from me. Evan took the chair between us, as though his body could keep 2 versions of the story apart. Samuel thanked us for coming. He placed the certification on the table. "We are not here to decide ownership of a family's experiences," he said. "We need to decide whether the named entrant wrote the submitted text and whether the entry meets our rule." Evan began before anyone asked him. Paige revised it. "The underlying events happened to all of us. My mother gave me the document, and this family has always worked collaboratively." Samuel looked at Paige. "Did you write the submitted essay?" Paige looked at her hands. Evan said, "She shaped the final—" "I asked Paige," Samuel said. The room became so quiet that I heard the heater click. Paige said, "No." Evan whispered her name. Paige turned toward him. "You told me she gave you memories." "She did." "You told me you shaped them." "I formatted and tightened—" "You changed 'had' to 'needed,'" Paige said. I changed it back. There was grief in her anger. She was discovering that the opportunity she had used to feel talented was also a story her husband told about what she could not do without him. Evan turned toward her. "You changed it." "I changed the title and 2 sentences. I did not write it." Then Samuel looked at me. I opened the blue notebook. The page edges had softened from my hands. The morning after my husband died, the hospital sent his bed away before it sent me home. What remained was a stack of yellow towels, 2 melted ice chips, and a clean square of sunlight where a person had been. My voice trembled on husband. It steadied on remained. I closed the notebook. Paige Bell did not write this essay, and I did not authorize its submission. I am asking you to withdraw the entry. I am not asking you to give me the prize. Evan pushed the certification away. "This is absurd." She sent me the file. "For page numbers," Paige said. Evan looked at her. "If you say you co-wrote it, they can keep the entry alive." "Did I co-write it?" she asked me. "No." She turned back to him. "Then no." Samuel asked whether I wanted the organization to retain a copy under my name. "No. Keep what you need for your decision and withdraw the submitted work." "Are you asking the organization for anything else?" "No." "You stopped when I called." The exchange lasted less than a minute. I was grateful. The important question was not what process could be built around my injury. It was whether the people I loved would speak accurately when accuracy cost them something. He stared at her. She had the email printed in her lap. Samuel asked, "Mr. Bell, did you change the byline and submit the file?" Evan's first answer was a description. He talked about debt, marketing, grief, family stories, and what the opportunity could have done. Samuel asked again, "Did you submit it?" Evan looked at me. "Yes." "Did Mara authorize you to name Paige as author?" This time his pause was shorter. "No." Nothing in the room transformed. No one gasped. No judge entered with a larger check. Paige covered her mouth. Evan stared at the table. I felt no triumph, only the strange steadiness of hearing a fact remain itself after everyone had tried to rename it. Samuel said the organization would issue a written decision Monday. The entry would stay on hold, and no payment would be made. In the hallway, Evan caught up with me. "Are you happy now?" I looked at my son. He was angry, ashamed, and still frightened about money. All three things could be true. No, I said. But I told the truth. On Monday at 9:05, Leah called. The entry had been voided for failing the sole authorship rule. The public program would list the finalist slot as withdrawn for eligibility reasons. The nonprofit would not publish our names or the details. The $7,500 would not be paid to Paige, to me, or to anyone else in that slot. After we hung up, I sat at my kitchen table and waited to feel victorious. The refrigerator hummed. A truck backed down the street. Daniel's reading glasses were no longer on the end table. I had put them away months before. Justice, when it came, looked like an ordinary Monday with one false thing removed. At noon, I made soup and could not taste it. I had wanted the correction so badly that I had not imagined the empty space after it. There would be no reading, no check, no moment when someone announced my name instead. The nonprofit had done exactly what I asked, and the result still hurt. I thought of calling Evan before he called me. For years, whenever he was upset, I moved first. I brought food. I translated his sharp words into tired ones. I gave him an easier way back before he had decided whether he wanted to change. That Monday, I washed my bowl and left the phone where it was. Evan left a voicemail. I hope you're satisfied. We had a real chance, and now nobody gets anything. He spoke about the money as though it had been taken from his account. It had never entered one. I opened the shared folder where he had once helped me store tax forms and writing drafts. I removed his access. I changed the password. Then I sent one message. The entry was voided because you copied and submitted my work under Paige's name. No visits for now. Keep the emergency number. Do not send family members to explain for you. If we speak directly and name what happened. I did not delete our photographs. I did not block his number. A boundary did not need theater to be real. By dinner, Celia had called twice. I went to her house the next day because she was my sister and because I wanted to say the words once, face to face. Celia was 7 years older than me. When our mother became ill, Celia handled appointments and I handled the house. She spoke to nurses. I changed sheets. Our family admired the person who could explain what was happening. The person who quietly made the next morning possible was thanked in a softer voice, if at all. Evan grew up watching that division. He loved Celia's certainty. At 12, he asked her to help with speeches because she could turn 3 pages into 5 index cards. At 16, he asked me to wash the shirt he planned to wear while giving one. None of that made his later choice inevitable. But it helped me understand why Celia's kitchen was where the family sent the problem. She believed language was a kind of first aid. If she found a gentler word than copied, perhaps everyone could go home. She poured coffee and said, "He knows he made a mistake." What mistake? Borrowing your story. He copied it, changed the name, and submitted it. You know what I mean. That sentence had carried more weight in my family than it deserved. You know what I mean meant, please accept the kinder version so the speaker does not have to change. I know the words he is using, I said. They are not the words for what he did. Celia showed me his message. It said he was sorry things had gotten out of hand and hoped I could put a contest behind me. There was no copied, no submitted, no lied. He is ashamed, she said. Then shame can teach him the nouns. I asked her not to carry messages again. If Evan wanted to speak, he had my number. At home, I opened the blue notebook. I held my pen above a clean page for 20 minutes. Nothing came. The meeting had protected the truth of one essay. It had not made writing feel safe. Every sentence seemed to have a door in it, and I could picture Evan walking through. I missed 2 classes. During those weeks, My days narrowed. I walked to the grocery store at 10 because the aisles were quiet. I answered Celia's calls but would not discuss Evan. I cleaned the spare room desk twice and moved the blue notebook from the drawer to the shelf and back again. Once, I opened the widowhood essay and tried to revise it. Every line seemed to address the contest now. The yellow towels felt like evidence. Daniel's ice chips felt like exhibits. I closed the file. The meeting had restored my name to one piece of work. It had not restored my reason for writing. A program director could not order that part back. On the third Thursday, June called. "I'm not asking what happened," she said. "I'm asking if you need a ride. I can take the bus." "Good. Then I'll save you the chair you pretend you don't like." The chair had one short leg and rocked whenever I crossed my ankles. She knew I always chose it because it stood nearest the radiator. I went. No one asked me to tell the dramatic version. Our teacher put a cardboard box on the table and asked us to write about something left behind. For years at the hotel, I kept a log of lost objects. One red mitten, a brass key with no label, dentures wrapped in a washcloth, a child's plastic horse, 14 phone chargers in a single summer. Most things were claimed. Some stayed in the cabinet until the manager gave permission to discard them. I wrote about a green umbrella that waited 90 days. At the end of class, June handed back the page I had given her. "New rule," she said. "Paper drafts." Returned in the room. Nobody shares a line without asking. "You made that rule for me?" "I made it because it is a good rule." On the bus home, I wrote one sentence about the umbrella. It was not brilliant. It did not need to defend me. It was simply mine. Over the next 4 weeks, Thursday became the fixed point of my week. I wrote at my kitchen table on Monday and printed pages at the library on Wednesday. On Thursday, June and I exchanged them. She marked confusing places with a question mark. I circled numbers she had transposed. Then we handed the pages back. We did not become precious about paper. Sometimes a draft was poor. One week I spent 3 pages describing the lost property cabinet and forgot to include the people who opened it. June wrote, "Where are you standing?" In the margin. I laughed. I added the afternoon a father came to claim a child's plastic horse. He carried no receipt, but he knew one wheel had melted slightly against a radiator. When I gave it to him, he held it by the broken wheel as carefully as if it were alive. That event belonged to the man and his child. The sentences I chose belonged to me. I understood the difference without turning it into a lecture. The widowhood essay stayed in the blue notebook. Leah had said I could enter it elsewhere if I chose. For a while I assumed reclaiming it publicly would complete the story. But that essay had begun as a private room between Daniel and me. Keeping it private was not letting Evan win. Privacy was also a choice. I finished The Lost and Found Peace instead. It was about the strange patience of objects waiting for people who might never return. There was no sun in it. No contest meeting. No disguised villain. The ending gave me trouble. In the first draft, every object found its owner. June drew a line beside that paragraph. "Did that happen?" she asked. "No." "Then why are you rescuing all of them?" A story where every lost thing went home felt kinder. But I had not joined the class to make every room look untouched. I rewrote the ending around the green umbrella. After 90 days, no one claimed it. The manager placed it in a donation bin with winter coats and unopened toiletries. I never learned who carried it next. The umbrella did not return to its first owner, but it became useful beyond the cabinet where it had waited. June read the new paragraph and tapped the page once. "There you are," she said. This time I knew what she meant. The library hosted a small quarterly journal. Its submission page asked for the author's name and whether the piece had appeared elsewhere. I typed Maribel. I read the permission paragraph slowly. Then I pressed submit, without calling Evan to fix a thing. The confirmation appeared. Thank you, Mara Bell, author. I laughed once, alone in the spare room. Not because a form had crowned me, because I had filled it out myself. The journal did not promise publication. It promised only that an editor would read the page I had chosen to send. That uncertainty felt clean. I had not borrowed an audience, a reputation, or another person's name. I had made one piece of work, read the terms, and placed it where I intended. On the way home from the library, I bought a packet of blue pens. The purchase was ordinary enough that I almost missed what it meant. I was planning to need them. Not for a statement about Evan, and not for a defense of the widowhood essay. I expected more blank pages in my own life. 6 weeks after the meeting, Paige asked if we could have coffee. She came without Evan and did not ask me to soften the boundary. Her business had closed. She told me that first, as if consequence itself might serve as an apology. I'm sorry it closed, I said. Not a lot of jobs in the valley. That is not what I needed you to correct, she nodded. She had removed the finalist announcement the morning after our meeting. Then she had posted a plain message to the same small audience. She had been named on work she did not write, and she had withdrawn from the program. She did not name me. She did not blame Evan. Some people asked what happened, she said. What did you tell them? That I accepted credit before I asked enough questions. When they asked who wrote it, I said the writer did not want to be identified. I had never instructed her to say that. She had protected the same privacy she once treated as inconvenient. I should have asked the first time I knew the voice wasn't mine, she said. Yes. I liked what people thought of me. I know. It was not a beautiful apology. It was specific, which was more useful. She asked whether she could tell her sister that I had returned to writing class. The question startled me because the answer seemed harmless. 6 weeks earlier, harmless facts had been treated as family property. You may tell her I take a class, I said. Do not send her my work. I won't. We finished our coffee. I did not invite her home. I said she could call me directly once in a while, as herself, not as Evan's messenger. She accepted that without bargaining. That evening, Evan called from his own number. I let it ring 3 times. Mom, he said, I copied your essay. I changed the name, and I submitted it without asking you. The sentence sounded practiced. Practice did not make it false. Yes, I said. Paige and I started counseling. I know that doesn't mean you owe us anything. I waited. I keep thinking about what you said in the meeting. About the yellow towels and the square of... He stopped. For a moment, all I heard was his breathing. May I quote that sentence? He asked. It was a small question. It did not restore trust. It did not return the weeks I had spent afraid of my own pages. It did not earn him a visit that night. But it was a question. You may quote that one sentence to your counselor, I said. Nowhere else. Okay. I'm not ready for you to come over. I understand. You can call next Sunday. He did not ask whether that meant lunch. He did not tell me Celia missed having everyone together. He said Sunday was fine. There would be harder conversations. He would need to hear what his choice changed without rushing toward the part where I reassured him. I would need to resist rewarding the first decent question with complete access. One accurate phone call was evidence of one accurate phone call. After we hung up, I set the phone beside my laptop. The lost and found essay was open on the screen. The journal had asked for one small revision to the ending. I read the last paragraph aloud. Then I put my hands on the keys and wrote the next line while the phone lay quiet beside me.